A very good morning to all of you and welcome to Breakfast News with the Sentinel. Let me run you through the top headlines in the Sentinel this morning. First up, of course, is about the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, stating that simply because India took the right decisions at the right time, that India is today in a better position as far as fight against coronavirus is compared. India is much better placed as compared to other countries. This is what Prime Minister Narendra Modi said. He said this while inaugurating the high-tech state-of-the-art testing labs he had inaugurated. That was his inaugural speech yesterday. He inaugurated 3 high-tech testing labs. The labs inaugurated are in Noida, in Uttar Pradesh, Mumbai, in Maharashtra, and in Kolkata, in West Bengal. So three more high-tech state-of-the-art testing labs India has now to do coronavirus tests. Now, the Prime Minister said that India has become the second largest personal protective equipment, that is the PPE kit manufacturer as well. This has happened in the last 4 months. Lot of feat there as far as India is concerned, and India's fight against coronavirus is concerned. Now, all of these things has happened while the number of corona cases in India has crossed the 14 lakh mark. These are numbers as of last 24 hours. There has been a spike of 49,931 cases. The total COVID count as far as the country is concerned stands at 14,35,453. The recovery rate stands at 63.92%. These are data from the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, the Central Ministry of Health, and these are data as of last 24 hours. Now, let's move on to stories, to news from the region, moving to Assam first. Of course, the flood situation continues to remain grim. But before I move to the flood situation, here is what the state government has informed. This is regarding the central funds that are released under the National Disaster Response Fund and the State Disaster Response Fund. These are two funds which are directly under the Union Ministry, the Central Ministry of Home Affairs. Now, money is released from the center under these two funds so that the state can take care of relief operations, of rescue operations, and to build up the infrastructure or help people post the disaster has struck. So in this case, we are referring to the floods here as far as the current situation is concerned. So the state government has informed that for the last 4.5 years, Assam has not received any assistance under the National Disaster Response Fund to tackle the devastating situation that accompany the annual floods. This is despite the loss of many lives, livestock, and large-scale infrastructure damage that happens every year after the floods. Now, we all know floods is an annual phenomena as far as Assam is concerned, and lakhs of people are affected every year. Lakhs of livestock damage happens. Cropland, a lot of really thousands of hectares of cropland get affected because of the floods. Now, no funds have come in. So for the last 4.5 years under the NDRF, the last that any fund had come into Assam was in the fiscal 2012-13 when Assam received the last NDRF amount of 45 crore rupees. So that was way back in 2012-13 when Assam had received any money from the center to rebuild infrastructure, to take care of the people, flood-affected people in the state. So it is definitely becoming very, very difficult for the state of Assam. Needless to say, the state continues to fight both COVID and floods. Of course, there has been massive erosions that has been taking place across the state of Assam. Lakhs of people affected due to floods and erosion, landslides, all of these things hitting the people of Assam really, really hard this time of the year. Kaziranga, 95% of the national park underwater. Thousands of animals affected. Almost 12 rhinos are said to have died because of the flood situation. Those are some of the pictures, visuals there up on your screen, showing the graveness of the floods. Majority of the rivers swelling, be it the Brahmaputra, the Jia Bharali, the Beki, most of the major rivers and their tributaries simply swelling over the past several days, threatening to erode massive areas. Lot of cropland already underwater. Now, the death toll as far as floods is concerned has gone up to 103. And the number of people affected has gone up to 22,33,920 people across 2,026 villages have been affected. 22 of the 33 districts now flood affected. So the situation, of course, continues to remain critical as far as the floods in the state of Assam is concerned. Now, moving on to another very important news. This is something that we have been discussing a lot. Everybody has been concerned about this particular aspect. That's about the schools. When are schools and colleges going to open in Assam? Now, the Assam Health and Education Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma has hinted that the government is contemplating on opening schools and colleges from September 1st. Now, this bit of news comes amid the number of COVID cases rising in Assam. The tally there, the number of positive cases in Assam has gone up to 33,576. So here is what the minister has said while addressing health workers engaged in the fight against COVID. He said, and I quote, "We'll hold meetings of the educational task force and find out as to under what new rules the educational institutions can be opened without risking the students from infection. Online classes cannot be attended by all students, especially those from rural poor families. And this is possible only if you, as in he is referring to the health workers, can get your job well accomplished," unquote. So, of course, the health minister, the health and education minister stating that discussions will be held before the government takes a call. But in all likelihood, it is possible that the schools might reopen around September 1st. Now, the COVID cases, like I mentioned, in Assam has gone up to 33,576. The number of active cases stands at 8,085. 25,402 people have been discharged. The death toll too continues to rise. It stands at 86. Not a very happy situation as far as Assam is concerned. Both floods and COVID really taking a toll. Of course, needless to say, Assam, the Bagjan oil well continues to burn after even a month, when the first flare-up had happened in Tinsukia. There too, at least 1,000 families have been affected by the flood, environment damaged. That work is still going on in Bagjan, in Tinsukia. Now, moving on to news from other parts of Northeast. First up is Meghalaya. The corona cases there has gone up to 598. The total positive cases has crossed the 700 mark in Meghalaya. In the last 24 hours, Meghalaya has recorded 36 fresh coronavirus cases, taking the tally of active cases to 598. There has been 51 new recoveries, the recovery also moving up in that particular state. So, of course, there has been lockdown has been imposed in several areas of Shillong and other parts of Meghalaya. Stringent measures being taken by the state government to try contain the spread of the virus. of the fresh cases, state's active cases stands at 547, with the BSF and the armed forces together accounting for 285 cases. There are 262 civilian patients, a health department official said. So that is the update as far as Meghalaya's corona situation is concerned. Moving on now to another story from Arunachal Pradesh. Arunachal Pradesh is the other state of Northeast that has been witnessing a lot of massive floods and erosion and landslides there too. Roads being blocked, infrastructure devastated. In fact, last month, there were casualties also reported due to landslides happening in the state. Now, the All Arunachal Pradesh Students' Union, or APSU, has urged the state government for a financial package to deal with the annual flood havoc caused by the Siang River. A team of APSU, led by its General Secretary Tobom Dai, along with members of the All East Siang District Students' Union and others, visited the flood-affected areas of Sigar and Namsing in East Siang District to take stock of the ground situation. So the situation there too really very critical, because many of the roads have been washed away and landslides have blocked the roads, snapping the road communication in several parts of Arunachal Pradesh. Now, moving on to Sikkim, and here is an update on the COVID situation in the state of Sikkim. Sikkim reported its first COVID death. Sikkim reported its first COVID death, even as the state's number of positive cases went up to 499. 74-year-old person died. He was infected by corona. That is how the death happened, and that's the first death Sikkim had reported. In fact, remember, Sikkim was one of the states who reported corona cases the last across the country, but now the number increasing there very fast, despite the government taking all measures to contain the virus. Moving back to Arunachal one more time, and this is to give you an update about the coronavirus situation in that particular state. The corona tally in Arunachal Pradesh has gone up to 1,158. Of these, 650 are active cases, while 505 people have recovered from the disease and 3 people lost their lives to coronavirus. So this is the update as far as corona cases in Arunachal Pradesh is concerned. Moving to Mizoram, a father-son duo was arrested by the Mizoram police. They were arrested from the neighboring, from the border area bordering Myanmar, and the police recovered 1.9 kilogram of smuggled heroin from their possession. Now, the smuggled heroin is estimated at 1.54 crore rupees in the local market. So this is a bit of news that has come in from Mizoram, the arrest being made there. So these are some of the top news from Assam and Northeast. That is all that I have for you all this morning. Do log in to sentinelassam.com for all the other news and updates, not just from Assam and the Northeast, but national and international news as well. We will keep you updated with all the latest that keeps happening from across the state, the region, and the nation. And do follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Till we meet again, goodbye, take care, and stay safe.